everyone, Mr. Joe here to show you how to make a flipbook animation. So animation is a kind of moving image like movies or TV shows. It's made up of a series of images that are played back so fast that our eyes blur them together. And when they're blurred together in our eyes and in our brain, it looks like smooth motion, even though it's made up of individual images. And so animation is a kind of moving image that you make with drawings. And so you make individual drawings and then they're played back so fast that we blur them together and it looks like smooth motion. So a flipbook animation is the same thing, except you make your drawings on pieces of paper and then you go through and you flip the pieces of paper so fast that you can see them blurred together and it looks like smooth motion. And so it's easy to do if you have post-it notes, and I've just kind of done some drawings to demonstrate, but on each page I made a drawing and I just varied them slightly so that from one page to the next there's just a little bit of movement, and so when we flip through them we'll be able to see the movement more smoothly and more quickly. So let me show you. Right, so let's try it again. So you can see the circle or the ball bounces. And like I said, I just did that from like one page to the next. The circle moves a little bit. So you can see when I just kind of go through each page individually, it's just moving a little bit. And then when we flip to it fast, we see the movement. So we can do the same thing without a pre-made pack of sticky notes. We'll just use paper, ruler, pen, pencil, scissors, and a stapler, sorry. And so what we'll do is, because the edge that I'm flipping on with this is cut, it's cut by a machine. So it's really even and straight. And we want ours to be easy to flip just like this, because if it's too difficult to flip or the pages like stick together, like if I do like that, see how it looks choppy? Maybe not as cool. So we want to be able to flip smoothly. And so what we'll do is we'll make sure when we put ours together with the paper that the bottom of the flipbook is always using this edge of the paper that's already been pre-cut by a machine, that's really straighter than we can cut by hand with scissors. And I'll show you how I do that. So I just make a grid on the paper of 2-inch squares, and I just line them up so that after I cut them out, the bottom all comes from the perimeter of the paper. So what I'll do is with my ruler, I'll go through and I'll just mark 2 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches, 8 inches. And then I'm gonna skip an inch and mark at 9 inches. The reason for that is that this paper is 11 inches by 8.5 inches long, and that doesn't go evenly into 2 inches, but I want to get as many squares as I can. And so now when I go to the other side, I'm going to go down 2 inches, another 2 inches, 4 inches, 6, and then I'm going to skip a 1/2 inch because it's 8.5 inches long, and then I'll get another 2 inches here. Okay, and so now what I'll do is I'll go through and just connect these marks that I've made so that I end up with a grid. Now, if you don't have a ruler or you don't feel like doing this, you can also just cut, eyeball it and cut the pieces out by hand. But what you'll want to do is just use the same idea that we're using here, is keep your pieces of paper in order so that this edge that's already pre-cut, you keep those at the bottom, or at the, you keep those together all lined up here so that this side of the flipbook is all cut nice and straight. And like I said, the reason for that is just so that it's easier to flip smoothly and get that nice smooth motion. Okay, and so now that I've got my grid, what I want to do is just cut out all these squares around the perimeter, and we'll just skip these smaller ones, like these. So let's get to cutting. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut out my squares, and I've got them all lined up, and this side is all from the edge of the paper that was, pre-cut by a machine. So it's nice and even, and you want to just take your paper and kind of stack them up. You can tap them against like a nice hard surface. And you just want to get that bottom edge that you're going to flip to be nice and even, and you can even just practice flipping through it to see how it works. So if it seems like it's sticking, you might try and just getting it until it seems nice and straight. So that seems close. Let me try this again. And you can use however many pieces of paper you want. You can do that, same thing where we cut out we made the grid on the paper and we cut it out. You can do that, a couple times. You just want to keep in mind that your stapler, might not be able to cut through a big stack of paper. So that's just something to keep in mind. So this seems to be flipping pretty well. Let me try it one more time. Okay, that's pretty good. So I'm gonna do the same thing, get it nice and ready. Let me try it one more time. Okay, and now I'm gonna get my stapler, and I'm gonna staple twice at the very top here. So I'll show you. And you want to make sure that the staple does go all the way through, especially if you're using a lot of pieces. Okay, so it did go all the way through. Got my staples there, and then you can just try and flip it again to practice. It's pretty good. It's maybe a little choppy, but we can kind of play with it. Okay, so I think this will work. So we're ready to draw. And it is important that you put your flipbook together before you draw, because that way the pages are all in the right place and you're ready to do your drawings. So I'm going to do a similar drawing like I showed you in the animation at the beginning. And I'm just going to do a circle that's going to bounce at the bottom of the page. So I'm going to start by just drawing a little piece of the circle at the corner of the page. So you can see that. Then I'm going to go to the next page. You see I've started at the back. This back page is going to be my first page. That way I can flip it in the direction like I've been showing you. So I go to the very next page, and if you use copy paper and a pen to do your drawing, you should be able to see just a little bit of the page before. And you can use that so that when you draw on the next piece, you just move your drawing, or you change it just a little bit. So I'll just show you what I've done. So there's a little bit of the circle, then the next page there's a little more of a circle, and then a little more. So it's just moving a little bit, and you can play around with how much or how little you move your drawings from page to page, if you move them a lot from page to page, it's going to look more choppy. And if you just move them a little bit, it's going to look, more smooth, but it might, your movement might happen more slowly. So that's just something to keep in mind. And you can even, like, I'm not finished yet. I've just drawn a few things, but I can go ahead and flip through and see how it looks. So let's see. Oops, let me show you that better. Well, that's hard to see. Let me keep drawing and then I'll show you. You want to be careful not to accidentally skip a page either. And if you want, you can even, do your drawing in pencil first and then go over it with pen. That way you can fix any mistakes. The only thing is that pencil, it might be harder to see like the previous page, the previous drawing, if you do it in pencil. I'm gonna make the ball kind of get squished at when it hits the bottom of the page. And then I'm gonna have it bounce back up. Okay, so I've drawn through every page and we can see how it flips now. So we're gonna pull it back and let me make sure you can see it. Okay, so it kind of works. Sorry, that was kind of choppy. So you can see that you can kind of play around with, how you flip it until you get it to look nice. Like that was kind of choppy, but it looks like the ball is bouncing. So I hope that helps. You can make your flipbook a different size. It doesn't have to be 2 inches. It could be bigger or smaller. You can use however many pages you want. However many pages you have is kind of how long your animation will be. So if it's more pages, it's going to be a longer animation. You can also try flipping through it in reverse. That might be fun. And I hope you just try some drawings, maybe different than, just a circle or a ball bouncing. But I'm sure you'll have great ideas for animations. And I hope you have lots of fun. Good luck. Enjoy animating.